This Disfairs episode is entirely about the history, design, facts, and all kinds of fun stuff about Disney World's first resort, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. Technically speaking, it wasn't exactly the first, and yet it was. Both the Polynesian and contemporary resorts opened on the same day of October 1st, 1971, so they're both first. But back in 1969, with the coming opening of Walt Disney World, Disney announced that there would be 5 themed resorts. 5! 3 of which, the Asian, Venetian, and Persian themed resorts, one by one fell to the wayside. But the first 2 which survived, or rather blossomed, from the wet prairies and marshlands of Orange County, Florida, were Disney's contemporary and Polynesian resorts.
Booyah! Welcome to...
So a lot of ideas were thrown around by WED Enterprises, now known as Walt Disney Imagineering, for designing the Polynesian resort, the first of which did not at all resemble what we have today. This idea was for the Polynesian resort to be a big 12-story tower, akin to the many grand hotels in Honolulu's Waikiki Beach. Over the course of a year, the concept took a thematic turn to become more of the authentic Polynesian village that we're all familiar with today. Most of the structural and mechanical engineering design was done by WED and Mappo. The architectural firm, Welton Beckett & Associates, who were based out of California, worked with Disney Imagineering to design the Polynesian, and the United States Steel Corp did the construction. The Polynesian, as well as the contemporary, were built using a unique process called unitized modular construction, which is the most boring term for something so absolutely fascinating and efficient. Each of the rooms were assembled 4 miles away at a facility. This included carpeting, fixtures, plumbing, electrical fittings, closets, air conditioning, and walls. With this method, some 300 workers were cranking out about 15 rooms a day. Then, each of the 8.5-ton rooms were transported on flatbed trucks to the Polynesian site, hoisted by cranes to then be placed, and stacked up to 3 stories high into the longhouse's framework, just like sliding closed a dresser drawer. The location for the resort was ideally chosen on the southern shores of the Seven Seas Lagoon, right beside the Transportation and Ticket Center, and offering an amazing far-off view of the Magic Kingdom and Cinderella's castle from the Great Ceremonial House, as well as from many rooms throughout the village. Since Disney was not particularly savvy or experienced in the arena of hospitality, the original idea was for the Polynesian resort to be run by Western International, which incidentally changed its name to Westin in 1981, before changing hands a number of times before it was finally acquired by Marriott International. Roy O. Disney, Walt's brother, who was known to handle more of the business and finances, once said while addressing a group of developers in Orlando that the one thing he learned from the Disneyland project was to control the environment. He didn't like that the Disney name was blamed for the surrounding motels around Disneyland jacking up their prices to 3 times the value, so Roy didn't want what he called honky-tonks coming in and doing the same to Disney World. The best way to do that was to run their own hotels and resorts, at prices I know some people jokingly argue are hiked to 3 times the price, but really, for what you get at deluxe Disney resorts compared to other places, it's equitable. And Disney's more affordable, moderate, and value resorts are typically fair.
And time is money. Hop along.
So since this was Disney's first foray into the resort business, they decided to lease the Hilton Inn South in Orlando, Florida for 16 months, of which there are extremely few images, so please forgive the overusage here. Anyway, the Hilton Inn South, under Disney management, opened its doors in May of 1970 and used the 140-room hotel as a guinea pig of sorts in order to develop how Disney would operate the Polynesian and contemporary resorts when they opened. It was the first and only hotel on International Drive, by the way, if you're familiar with the Orlando area. During this year, they refined the day-to-day operations, training manuals, restaurant menus, figuring out troubles with laundry, food, locating quality ingredients for restaurants, fine-tuning what would eventually become the standard practices of the Disney hotel resort business. It was a sort of hospitality laboratory, while also serving as a place where executives, management, and transfers from California could come to get their bearings while they found permanent residences. Furthermore, Roy O. Disney, along with the other executives I mentioned, were known to also stay at the Hilton Inn South, and were none too shy about immediately voicing flaws with service or accommodations, therefore teaching employees to meticulously treat every guest as though they were a VIP. The restaurant was run by Gary Reich, a former chef of the White House under Lyndon Johnson and Howard Hughes, with a brand new top-of-the-line kitchen. The steaks were so tender and well cooked that it's said they didn't even bother giving customers knives. Like, for real. Both Gary Reich, who moved on to the Polynesian, and Joe Mank, who went on to the Contemporary, both developed their distinct menus while operating out of Hilton Inn South. The Hilton Inn South is no longer in existence, by the way. Although, if you care to know, it was roughly in the area where the largest McDonald's ever and the Quality Inn at International Drive are currently located. Anyways, keeping in line with Roy O. Disney's newfound accommodation philosophy, Disney World decided it was going to branch their operations to not only hotels, but shops of all kinds, including recreational facilities. The beaches, the boats, the campgrounds, the spas, the horseback riding, the golf courses, the transportation systems between them. Disney would run it all. And I'm guessing that this started from the very beginning, but even to this day, all Polynesian cast members attend special training and classes in traditional Polynesian values. The classes focus on helpfulness, hospitality, and the welcoming attitude of the South Seas culture. Cast members even have access to a special Polynesian library, so it's little wonder why Disney's Polynesian Village Resort has the largest percentage of original cast members anywhere on property.
What? Oh, how very prompt. What wonderful service.
While all of this hospitality ingenuity was moving into full swing, the original Polynesian Village Resort was constructed in less than all of 8 months, from February of 1971 to the last possible minute of opening day on October 1st. I read that the carpets, wallpaper, and light fixtures were installed to the Great Ceremonial House the night before the grand opening ceremony, technically mere hours after the Contemporary's grand opening. And yet, it went off great. The Polynesian's grand opening had Lucille Ball, Bob Hope, and Fred McMurray, the governor of Florida at the time, and the Disney family. It originally had 492 rooms on opening day, and particularly in the 70s and 80s, the playful god of the people, Maui, was on all kinds of stuff that I can't find hardly any pictures of, such as room service, folders, soap, and matchbooks. He was actually created by Leroy Schmaltz of Oceanic Arts in Whittier, California, of which there's a long history with Disney to be told there, just not today. But in more recent days, Maui was on cups, hats, and a limited run of clothing. Nowadays, besides the lobby and some signs, I think I only found him as a lamp in my room and on trash cans. He's still awesome though. I think the Moana movie, along with its rendition of Maui, took a bit of the wind out of this Maui's sails, but hopefully it's temporary. And there are always people who continue to adore Maui no matter what.
Yes. Maui always has time for his fans.
Over the course of 50 years, the Polynesian has had 3 major expansions. The first was in '78 when they added the Longhouse, Tangoro, a terrace restaurant, and a secondary pool. The second expansion took place in '85 with the addition of 2 more longhouses, while also changing the name from Disney's Polynesian Village Resort to Disney's Polynesian Resort. The third expansion took place in 2015 when they expanded the Disney Vacation Club accommodations and amenities, adding the tally of longhouses up to 11, and each possessing its own uniquely decorated hallways, elevators, and walls. It's weird to say, but yeah, the walls are different in each longhouse too. The Polynesian is nestled beside the shimmering man-made Seven Seas Lagoon, of which, if you're into boats, you could rent a motorized one and go for a ride. Or fish, which I always thought was a weird term. You fish for fish. If your dog runs off, you don't dog for dog. But anyway, the Great Ceremonial House is really the heart of Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. The opening on the first floor is essentially the lobby, which used to have a multi-story 250 square foot atrium, complete with a waterfall that would cascade down the volcanic rocks into small ponds, and a floral display of anthuriums, banana trees, ferns, orchids, bromeliads, and gardenias, 75 species of tropical and subtropical plants. Back in the day, there were birds, parrots, and macaws in nesting boxes and perches near and around the waterfall. Sometimes they would even fly right into the stores and perch inside. However, some people, being as they are, would throw things at the birds from the second floor above, and the birds had to be moved to the animal kingdom. Nevertheless, the atrium was a scenic and auditory joy to behold.
It's kind of nice to slow down every once in a while.
The atrium waterfall had been designed and constructed by Fred Yorger. He was with Disney since the beginnings of Disneyland by making three-dimensional models of the attractions from rendered drawings. He also worked on miniatures for motion picture sets and props from Mary Poppins and 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Notable attraction miniatures of his were essentially most of the original Disneyland, including Sleeping Beauty Castle, as well as Big Thunder Mountain and the Haunted Mansion. He became renowned for rock work, particularly after Big Thunder, and so the Polynesian Atrium was his to design. Then, during the 2015 quote-unquote expansion, it happened. Disney renovated the lobby, reducing the large, majestic waterfall and fauna for this. They removed Yorger's atrium in order to make a more open area for moving around and sitting. Disney immediately realized it wasn't at all awe-inspiring, so they added Maui at the top. And I really do like Maui, but this isn't as great as the atrium. And I'm all for making changes to Disney, mind you, as long as they at least try to make things better. But the removal of the atrium for this hardly matches in execution. I get making more room, but put some waterfalls on the sides, dress it up, get some more tiki stuff in there. Offer something for people to look at and remember. The change, in my opinion, was kind of lazy.
Pitiful.
Don't get me wrong though, the two-story lobby of the Great Ceremonial House is still absolutely extraordinary. One of the best of all of the Disney resorts. Second best in my opinion, because I think Disney's Contemporary is the greatest, but still one of the best. The lobby's largest shop is Boutique, which I get the pun. It's clever and all, and they do sell some clothes here. But the place is so much more than a boutique. It sells all kinds of fun, awesome stuff. However, there's also all kinds of tiki stuff all over the place with a wide and fun variety of merchandise you would expect to find in a Disney Polynesian-themed resort's lobby. Oddly enough, long ago, and if my sources are correct, this area was the site of the South Seas Dining Room, a Polynesian buffet. And after that, Minnie's Menehune character breakfast. It didn't become the boutique until 2005, which is crazy because I don't recall it ever being anything but the boutique. I'm sure my memory's serving me wrong though. This Disney Vacation Club hub here used to be the Wyland Gallery, which used to sell an assortment of artwork, paintings, sculptures, and more. Even if you couldn't afford anything, it was fun to see all the neat stuff in there. If you want to go to the Wyland Gallery now, you have to go to Disney's Boardwalk Villas down by the Crescent Lake. Up on the Great Ceremonial Hall's second floor is Moana's Mercantile, formerly known as Samoa Snacks and Trader Jack's Exotic Imports and Native Exports.
He's an importer-exporter, okay?
The title was quite a mouthful, but back then, just as they do today with both places falling under one name, Moana's Mercantile sells merchandise more in line for gifts and stuff for kids, as well as all of the typical necessities and snacks and stuff that's at every Disney resort. I think I get snagged buying something every time I walk by here. And of course, there's an awesome coffee shop called Kona Island, and they've really got the beans. Their press pot Kona coffee option is spot on. Disney has these specialty press pot options throughout Disney World, and they're all amazing. The Polynesian's Great Ceremonial House also has a stop along the monorail, which after a stop at the Grand Floridian heads right to the front of the Magic Kingdom. If you stay on, you'll get to ride through Disney's Contemporary Resort before reaching the Transportation and Ticket Center, where you can switch monorails to get yourself to Epcot. Though it would likely be quicker to just walk to the Transportation and Ticket Center from the Polynesian if Epcot is your next stop. But there are, of course, other methods of transportation at Disney's Polynesian. If you're still up for walking to the Transportation and Ticket Center, you could pick up a snack and a coffee, then hop aboard the ferry to the Magic Kingdom and enjoy at your leisure amid the open water breezes. There are the boats behind the lava pool that head in and out to the Magic Kingdom, and the Grand Floridian too. Though I should add that the boats fill up and you may find yourself waiting because the boats go to both Grand Floridian and Polynesian resorts, hitting the Grand Floridian first. And then there are always the buses, which can take you essentially anywhere on Disney property. The buses can take you to all 4 major parks as well as the water parks and Disney Springs. The buses pick up and unload not too far from the entrance to the Great Ceremonial House. Though, these too can fill up because the same bus that goes to the Polynesian also transports guests from the Grand Floridian and Wilderness Lodge resorts.
Don't drive like my brother!
Oh, yeah, don't drive like my brother!
And I suppose you could just walk to the Magic Kingdom now that the walkway is opened up since the Grand Floridian DVC expansion, unless the new Polynesian Tower is blocking the way. That all depends on when you're watching this. But the Polynesian has tons more to offer. There are waterfalls, scenic landscaping, which is important to some people, volleyball, tiki, torches, beaches, which interestingly, in the early days of the Polynesian, a wave machine had actually been placed in the Seven Seas Lagoon to create waves on the shore of the Polynesian. At the time, you could swim at the beach. Apparently, I've read that it's still possible to see the wave machine in the depths of the Seven Seas Lagoon, but I haven't seen it with my own eyes. In the 70s, it was hoped that professional surfers would come perform shows for guests, and the wave machine actually worked for a short time. However, the waves eroded the Polynesian Resort's beach, so it was switched off and left dormant ever since. But I drifted off track there. Disney's Polynesian also has a mailbox for, sending letters or postcards, for those that still do that for fun. Relaxing trickling ponds, a campfire for roasting marshmallows Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 6:30 to 7:30. A laundry facility, however, like a number of things at the Polynesian, is a bit too small. You may have to wait for a free machine or just use the laundry and dry cleaning one-day service. There's the kukui nut tree, sometimes known as candle nut. It's native to Hawaii. In fact, it's Hawaii's state tree, culturally and historically standing for peace, protection, and enlightenment. The nuts from the trees have been used for various natural remedies and oil for ages, and this kukui at the Polynesian is the only one to be found anywhere in the state of Florida. At the base of the tree is a time capsule that was placed at the time it was planted. And if pressed coins are your thing, there's 2 of them on the 2nd floor of the Great Ceremonial House, and another on the 1st floor. Then there's the pools, 2 of them. The largest and more majestic is the Nania Volcano Pool, or Lava Pool as it's been officially termed by Disney since 2001. Either way, there's a big volcano complete with 0 entry, which means no steps. A specialized water wheelchair is offered to guests that need them, which makes this place great for those with special needs. There's also an infinity hot tub and the Kiki Tiki splash area, which is just fun to say. Then there's the Oasis Pool, nestled amid a calming tropical garden. It was constructed in 1978, before which it was a putting green. But in any case, the Oasis Pool is very aptly named because this other 0 entry pool actually makes it feel like you're wading out into an actual oasis. And while we're not on the subject, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort has its own motto, Aita Peatia, which I hope I'm saying right and was told it means there will be another day tomorrow just like today, which really is a nice sentiment to have while you're on vacation. The rooms at the Polynesian come in studios, various 2-bedrooms, or the bungalows. There are 1-bedroom rooms, but not many. The studio rooms at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort really are astounding. It offers a relaxed, hang-back atmosphere, and because it's so close to everything, you don't feel like you have to run out and experience Disney World, because it's like you're already in the thick of it right in your own room. All of these studio rooms offer a variation of different views, each of which cost a little different. There's the resort view, which is a kitschy way of saying their views of the landscaping and walkways, a water view, which offers a view of the marina or one of the pools, also the lagoon view, which obviously is a view out at the Seven Seas Lagoon, and the bit more expensive theme park view, which is an unobstructed view of the Magic Kingdom. Now there's something called the club level, which is a shrouded, mysterious Disney term for staying in a room that offers special perks. In the case of the Polynesian, it means having a special lounge that offers neat food, snacks, and all the coffee, soda, and/or water that you can eat and/or drink from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. There's a breakfast from 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m., then just refreshments from noon to 4, then appetizers, wine, and cheese from 5 p.m. to 7, and then desserts and cordials from 8 to 10 at night. It's nice.
Desserts!
Club level status also means you don't have to wait in line to check in at the lobby, or wait for a concierge who will book dining reservations, arrange childcare, exchange currencies, essentially organizing your trip to save you time. Alright, there are of course studio rooms that fall into the club level, and every other room that's larger than a studio falls into the club level, cleverly referred to as the King Kamehameha Club. So, all of the 1-bedrooms each face the marina, of which, like I said, there aren't many. Although there are options of getting 2 queens or the honeymoon room, which is just one big king. Then there's the Ambassador Suite. These are 2 bedrooms with a king-sized bed in one of the bedrooms, and the whole place has 3 bathrooms. This one has a view of the gardens, but still, just the Poly standard mini fridge and microwave. There's no stove or anything. The same goes for the one-bedrooms, by the way, but that probably goes without having to explain. But these rooms really make up for the lack of a full kitchen with decor, design, views, and amenities. So many amenities. But surely the King Kamehameha Suite has a full-sized kitchen, right? It's the largest suite at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort. And no. It is a somewhat bigger kitchen, but still a mini fridge, no freezer. Which makes this big dining table seem a bit superfluous. But look at this futuristic microwave, huh? And they give you Polynesian trail mix. Trail mix! So the King Kamehameha name is from the very real historical figure, King Kamehameha, who was celebrated for uniting the Hawaiian Islands in 1810, if you ever wanted to know why this room in the club level was named such. This suite has 2 floors with a bamboo roof, super fun and colorful artwork. Nevertheless, I just can't seem to get past the mini kitchen situation.
All right, get over it. We gotta move.
Now, every room in the King Kamehameha Suite has a perfect view of the marina, and if you look farther out, you can see Space Mountain and the top of Cinderella's castle. The place really is stunning. Then there are the bungalows to consider, but I'm not going to go over it in depth here because there's so much to them that they deserve their own episode. Pretty much everyone who enjoys visiting Disney resorts wants to stay at the Polynesian's Bora Bora bungalows, although I've never heard anyone ever call it the Bora Bora bungalows. They just say bungalows. Suffice it to say that the bungalows sleep up to 8, and it's a super hype 2-bedroom suite on the Seven Seas Lagoon. Like, on the lagoon, over the water. Now, if you want to get specific, each of the longhouses throughout the resort have varying advantages and disadvantages depending on your outlook, and you can request any particular longhouse during the initial booking process, and, of course, accessible rooms. Okay, so all of the suites at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort are in the Tonga Longhouse, ideally located near the Great Ceremonial House. However, if you want to take advantage of the food and drinks from the King Kamehameha Club Lounge, you have to walk yourself over to the Hawaii Longhouse, which I'll cover in just a moment. The Aotearoa Longhouse, which means long white cloud, is close to the Great Ceremonial House, particularly Captain Cook's. However, it's a trek to the Transportation and Ticket Center if you're looking to monorail it to Epcot. The Fiji, which is an island that is technically not Polynesian but Melanesian, is also close to the Great Ceremonial House and Marina. And this is also a hike to the Transportation and Ticket Center. However, when the new Polynesian Tower opens, it will be the closest longhouse to whatever wonders await in there. The Tuvalu, which is the Polynesian island that translates as 8 standing together, is relatively close to the Great Ceremonial House, and the furthest from the Transportation and Ticket Center. However, this longhouse has the most rooms with views of the Magic Kingdom. The Hawaii, which means homeland, is home to the concierge in the King Kamehameha Club Lounge, and I've happened to have visited here. It's really neat. This longhouse is centrally located near both pools and is alongside the lagoon and the Great Ceremonial House, not too far from the Transportation and Ticket Center. Half of the views from the rooms here are lagoon views, with many also getting a view of Cinderella Castle. And as I said, these club-level rooms also give you access to the private lounge on the 2nd and 3rd floor of the Hawaii, with its treats, sweets, and what have yous, to be enjoyed along with a captivating view of Cinderella Castle and the epic fireworks show at the Magic Kingdom every night. The music from the show is even pumped into the lounge, just like the Top of the World lounge over at Bay Lake Tower. It's pretty neat.
I love it.
The Samoa, which means people of the deep sea, which is a beautiful place, and is a word that always puts me in the mood for purple box Girl Scout cookies, is located right in between both pools, so the views are pleasant, right near the Great Ceremonial House, and not too far from the Transportation and Ticket Center. Now, what's particularly awesome about the Samoa Longhouse is that it's where John Lennon officially broke off from the Beatles, signing some official papers that lawyers brought down to Florida that they wanted signed, right here in room 1601 in the year 1974. This piece of news was told by May Pang, whom John was seeing at the time, and she actually took a photo of the signed document. The room is in a prime location too, right across from the pool, close to the Great Ceremonial House, and if you step out on the balcony, there's a view of the Magic Kingdom.
If you play with the same person all the time, you get into a rut. Even if you play tennis with the same person.
Gets boring.
It comes to a time when you know every move, and you have to find somebody else to play with.
The Rarotonga, which is the largest of the Cook Islands and translates in Maori as underground, is right next to the Great Ceremonial House, and right next to a sudsy fun laundry area. It's also near the Oasis Pool, not too far from the lava pool. A great place to just go and hop on a bus. And it's not too terrible of a walk to the Transportation and Ticket Center. The Niue, which is another island and translates to Behold the Coconut, is the smallest of the longhouses, but is also right next to the Great Ceremonial House, conveniently near both pools. Not a terrible walk to the Transportation and Ticket Center. It has no elevator, but has a walkway attached to the Rarotonga, so you can use their elevator if need be. It's so at the heart of everything, I'm surprised they haven't renamed it Te Fiti. Then there's Tokelau, which is named after a place that is made up of 3 atolls. Atolls are ring-shaped reefs. I just learned about this, so I had to add it because they're pretty neat. Anyway, Tokelau means North Wind and is a Disney Vacation Club longhouse. It's also one of the hardest to pronounce, which I think is a plot to have DVC people pronounce it as Talk Low, to perhaps subconsciously stifle members from yammering about their points and dues and whatnot. Tokelau wasn't part of the Polynesian's initial build, but was an added longhouse in 1978. Then there's the Moria, named after another popular, picturesque South Pacific island. This longhouse is very near to the Transportation and Ticket Center, but it is a bit of a walk to the Great Ceremonial House, lava pool, and pretty much everything at the Polynesian Village. But it is tranquil. Even the Oasis Pool requires a small trek, but a trade-off is that you can hop on a monorail whenever you want. This longhouse was added in 1985, so the rooms are slightly larger than the rest of the resort. And it has a nice quiet promenade. The Pago Pago is also right next to the Transportation and Ticket Center, with a long walk to the Great Ceremonial House, lava pool, marina, everything. But this longhouse is a little closer to the Oasis Pool than the Moria. This is another Disney Vacation Club longhouse. However, it also has the most number of the wheelchair-accessible rooms, as well as a number of roll-in showers. So if you or someone you love requires a wheelchair and/or are part of the DVC, the Pago Pago is your place. It's also very close to the parking area, with a nice selection of handicapped spaces. They're often hard to find in Florida. Unlike a lot of other longhouses, they do have balconies, and it was another longhouse that was added in 1985, so it also has slightly larger rooms. Then there's the food, which has taken me far too long to get to. Every food option at Disney's Polynesian Village Resort is flat out incredible, and a must-go, if not try. No other Disney resort, culinary speaking, has such an unbelievable assortment of choices.
Good food is like music you can taste, color you can smell.
Ohana is the most popular restaurant. It's located on the 2nd floor of the Great Ceremonial House, so it oversees the Seven Seas Lagoon. If you're able to get a reservation at the right time, you can even watch the nightly fireworks at the Magic Kingdom. Ohana also plays the music and audio from the show. There's a breakfast here too with several characters, but it's the standard breakfast options you can get at many Disney restaurants. You're essentially paying for the characters, ambiance, and great view. Long before it was Ohana, by the way, it was known as the Papete Bay Veranda Dining Room, and it was where Gary Reich operated after the Hilton South Inn. It offered a wide variety of Polynesian food. And there's the Kona Cafe, which I've always felt the energy of the title doesn't match the menu. The only reason this place isn't so hyped is because it's right next door to Ohana. But seriously, if there was no Ohana, the Kona Cafe would get its due. The food is great, the decor is fun, open, and easygoing, and the breakfast obliterates what they've got at Ohana. Really, it's a not-so-secret secret that this place is worth your time. And I don't think I've made a video where I put down any of the Disney restaurants yet, but I'm likely to stumble upon one any time now. I'm not enamored by every Disney restaurant, just most of them. And I didn't even get to the main point, which is that the Kona Cafe is the only place you can get Tonga toast. More specifically, Auntie Cowie's Tonga toast. It's this thick sourdough bread French toast thing, stuffed with banana and topped with sugar and cinnamon. You can order it fried or grilled. I'm not too bad at cooking. I've been working with Gordon Ramsay videos for some years, but I can't properly recreate Tonga toast. It's gotta be something with that thick sourdough.
You donkey!
The Kona Cafe used to be the Coral Isle Cafe. It opened with the resort in 1971 and lasted until 1998. I don't know what could have gone wrong, but with the exotic salads and spaghetti with meat sauce in a Polynesian setting, but when the site reopened, we all thankfully got the Kona Cafe. I've also heard it rumored that there's a variation of Tonga toast at boat rides over at the Port Orleans Riverside Resort, but I haven't tried it there myself. They call it banana stuffed French toast, which isn't anywhere near as punchy as Tonga toast. Maybe some people aren't ready for the in-your-face Tonga toast approach.
You're not ready for so much excitement.
Yes, I am.
And there's no way I could bypass Captain Cook's, another not-so-secret but not as widely known eatery. Back when Disney cupcakes were a much bigger deal, this was one of the hot spots. But really, setting desserts aside, Captain Cook's deserves the highest rating for a Disney resort counter restaurant. It really is good. A lot of what they serve packs a lot of flavor. And this relatively vacant building that is used for weddings, meetings, and other such special events, which used to be the Neverland Club and Lilo's Playhouse, these places were for kids, also used to be the Tongaroa Terrace Restaurant, which was an Oriental buffet until the October of 1996. And when it comes to dessert, there's no way to pass up on the pineapple lanai. Disney's Polynesian Village Resort is literally the only Disney resort that serves up Dole Whips. I don't even know what more you need to hear. Dole Whip served all day. You can go get a Dole Whip and enjoy it in your room. Enjoy it while you look out over the Seven Seas Lagoon. It's just there to be enjoyed at Pineapple Lanai since 2014. But even if you're a huge Disney resort person, you may not know that you can order room service items from the Kona Cafe in Ohana. Tonga toast for breakfast, right in your room. The Ohana option is called the Polynesian Twilight Feast, and it's just a collection of typical fun Ohana selections. So if you're staying at the Polynesian, you don't technically need a reservation to get an Ohana experience. I don't know why this isn't more widely known. The service charge is equal to your tip at the restaurant anyway. I tried it myself after reading it on the room service menu, thinking there must have been a catch somewhere, but it was the real deal. It was great. My family and I sat back in our poly room, watched some sitcoms, and ate Ohanas at our leisure. It's a fun memory that means a lot to me.
Ohana means family. Family means
nobody gets left behind.
Or
forgotten.
And I'm not really a drinker, but it would be a slap in the face if I didn't mention that the Polynesian has 4 bars. There's Trader Sam's Grog Grotto on the first floor that opened in 2015, which is another take on the Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar out at the Disneyland Hotel that opened in 2011. Both are named after the Trader Sam character from the Jungle Cruise. This place is an interactive bar and lounge, festooned with artifacts and treasures. It's whimsical, and kids are allowed in until 8 p.m. The Tambu Lounge is the bar located alongside Ohana on the second floor of the Great Ceremonial House. They serve appetizers along with alcohol here. You can also get drinks at the Barefoot Pool Bar next to the lava pool near the Seven Seas Lagoon, as well as the Oasis Bar and Grill over by the Oasis Pool. Unlike Barefoot, you can get burgers, sandwiches, and salads at the Oasis Bar and Grill. There once was this place called the Spirit of Aloha Dinner Show at the Luau Cove, which I did have reservations once, but something came up and I wasn't able to go. They had authentic Polynesian dancing and food. Now they're building the brand new Polynesian Tower on the exact spot. And I can't help but wonder if maybe this new tower will have a gym, because as of right now, in the preceding decades, Disney's Polynesian Village Resort has no fitness gym to speak of. However, if you're a King Kamehameha Club level guest, your Magic Band works for the Grand Floridian's fitness gym. So you can jog on over or hop on the monorail. And hey, if it's the summertime and late enough in the day, you can ride the monorail right on back and be just as sweaty as everyone else. Seriously though, there is a jogging trail that runs from the Maria Longhouse to the Grand Floridian when there isn't construction in the way. It's nice and wide and you get some views of the Magic Kingdom. Go along the Seven Seas Lagoon, the marina, the White Sand Beach, though there isn't much in the way of shade, so be sure to hydrate. At night, there are multiple places to view the Magic Kingdom's nightly fireworks, as well as the electrical water pageant. There's also Movies Under the Stars, located on the lawn between the lava pool and the Great Ceremonial House. And if you find yourself some many miles from Disney's Polynesian, but still want to somehow experience it, try out Morton Co.'s Polynesian Aloha candle. It's on Etsy for anyone to come along and purchase. It's really great and sets a nice Polynesian mood. So yeah, spread out over 39 acres with 847 rooms at present, not counting the new tower, the Polynesian Village Resort is a whole different animal than Disney's other deluxe resorts. It has its own character, appeal, and aesthetic, its own energy. It's been around for so long and continues to gradually evolve into its own fertile bastion of the South Pacific spirit.
But still good. Yeah, still good.
It's nothing short of amazing. Mahalo for watching, and Diz Fairs out.